Here are 5 unbelievably hilarious events in history, starting with number 5. Number 5, the Great Emu War of 1932. In 1932, Australia declared war on emus. Yes, giant flightless birds. After World War I, Australian farmers were struggling with emus trampling their crops. The government sent soldiers armed with machine guns to handle the problem. The result? The emus won. These birds outmaneuvered soldiers and avoided bullets, leading to Australia retreating after wasting thousands of rounds of ammunition. Ultimately, the war ended with emus still thriving and Australia somewhat embarrassed. Number 4, Napoleon's rabbit hunt of 1807. Napoleon Bonaparte, fresh from victories, decided to organize a celebratory rabbit hunt. His men gathered around 3,000 rabbits for the event. But when they were released, the rabbits didn't run away. They charged at Napoleon and his party instead. It turns out that the rabbits were tame and thought they were about to be fed. Napoleon and his men were chased by a flood of hungry bunnies and the great general had to flee the scene. 3. The Dancing Plague of 1518. In the summer of 1518, the town of Strasbourg in modern-day France was hit by a strange plague. People couldn't stop dancing. It began with a woman named Frau Trophea, who danced uncontrollably for days. Soon, others joined in, and it became an epidemic. Hundreds danced in the streets for days on end, some even collapsing from exhaustion. The cause is still debated. Was it mass hysteria, food poisoning, or something else? Whatever the cause, the scene of people uncontrollably dancing to exhaustion in the streets was both bizarre and humorous in hindsight. 2. The Boston Molasses Disaster of 1919. Imagine a tidal wave of molasses. In 1919 in Boston, a huge storage tank filled with molasses exploded, sending a 25-foot wave of sticky syrup through the streets at 35 miles per hour. The flood was devastating and tragic, but the idea of a city drowning in molasses is undeniably surreal. Buildings were swept off their foundations and it took weeks to clean the city. To this day, some Boston locals claim that on hot days you can still catch a faint whiff of molasses. 1. The Battle of the Rooster in 1325. The Italian city-states of Bologna and Modena went to war over a bucket. A wooden bucket was stolen by Modenese soldiers from Bologna, which somehow ignited a full-blown war between the two cities. The resulting battle, known as the War of the Oaken Bucket, was fought with 30,000 soldiers involved, all because of this simple stolen bucket. Modena won the war and kept the bucket as a trophy, and it is still displayed in their city today. The absurdity of so much bloodshed over a bucket makes this event both tragic and hilarious.